Hello, and thanks for taking the time to watch our introduction to our RV before your rental. We're doing this not only so that you can be prepared and spend some time looking over things, but also so that we can minimize the interaction that we have amidst our current pandemic. So first we'll start with the simplest of things, the keys. There's two locks here at the door. The bigger key that does the bolt lock, it's going to be the one that you want to use to keep all of your items secured. The smaller key here is a common key that a lot of people have. It's just convenient to lock it up, but don't consider that to be secured. Two doors, there's a screen door so that you can keep the bugs out, and then on the inside that screen door will attach right up here and it all closes up. Just inside the door right here, we've got an awning control, which you won't be using because insurance doesn't cover that, and then lights for the outside, as well as the master switch for the battery in the rear of the coach. Down here we've got all your things for setup. The square key is going to work for all the outdoor cabinets. And inside we've got towel if needed. These are a ladder that the sewer hose will sit on. Right here, if you watch our dumping procedure video, you'll see more about what's in here. It's an orange hose that's used to rinse that out. We've got these yellow Lego blocks that are used for leveling the RV, as well as these roller ones that can be used for the front door. Up here, once you've got power, you've got two plugs that can be used on the outside. This is the hood where you'll blow air out of on top of the stove. You want to just make sure this is closed up whenever you're driving. And if it's not closed, it's like this, so it'll let air out. And then you just want to clip that closed, otherwise it's just going to bang and make a lot of noise when you're driving. This is the outside of the refrigerator. And the furnace, you shouldn't need to do anything with that. And then as you come to the rear, obviously this black part is the awning. You're not going to be using the awning, like I said, because it's not covered under insurance, but there are some outside speakers we'll show you how to use on the inside after that. Here we've got an empty storage container to put anything that you need in here. And that's about it for this side of the RV. Here at the back of the RV, there isn't really much to see. It does have a hitch which remains locked. Yet again, insurance doesn't cover any towing, so that'll remain locked and you shouldn't need to do anything with it. Here's a full-size tire, spare tire, in case there's any emergencies that come along while you're on the road. Other than that, ladder gets you up on the roof. Shouldn't need anything up there unless some sort of emergency occurs. Over on the side here, this big tube up top has your sewage hoses in it, and if you watch our dumping procedure video, you'll see more about that. So we come around to the driver's side of the unit. Up here we've got our slide out, which is currently in. We'll show you a little bit more about that afterwards, but when this slide out comes out, you're going to make sure that the area is clear. You want to have about 5 or 6 feet at least of distance over in this direction for your slide out. And then here's where our power comes out if you're hooking your power cords up when you're at a campsite. Right here, this yellow adapter, as you can see, allows us to plug into a regular 110 AC power cord in case there isn't a 30 amp available. Inside this cabinet here, if we'll look up to the top shelf here, we've got an electrical cord, there's some tools, and a tire inflator in case you run into an emergency on the road. We've also got some more tools here, just some tricks and tips on things that we've picked up that we've needed along the way. So water filter here, and when that hooks up to the RV, it's going to hook up in this direction like this, and there's another video that's going to show you that a little bit clearer. This big black cord is our electric cord, and that will run out to your electric at the campsite. And if you're not at a campsite or plugged in like we currently are, this right here will be unplugged. This large black cord pulls back through and we'll plug into this plug right over here. This plugs you into the generator and gives power to you via using the onboard generator. Down below, we've got some gloves in case you need them for anything, including when you're dealing with your dump. And then in the back here, we've got 4 sets of camp chairs and a waterproof washable rug to put out in front of your campsite. This is where you'll fill up with gasoline. It's not diesel, it takes regular gasoline only. Up top here, the bigger of these two, these are both for water. The top one fills the onboard water tank, which holds 36 gallons of water. And when you're at your campsite, you're going to hook up to the city water connection with the white hoses that are in the last cabinet we looked in. And this will just give you water on board while you're at your campsite. Here we have the back side of the water heater and furnace. And it's normal to see a little bit of water dripping out of here every once in a while when you're using the water heater. Shouldn't be flowing, but it's okay to see a little bit of water coming out of there. Down here we have a non-lockable cabinet, and that goes to our propane. You will have to fill up on fuel and propane before you return the RV, and this is where you'll be able to have the propane filled up. Anywhere that fills your normal gas propane for your barbecue will be able to fill this, and you shouldn't have to do anything. As long as the propane's turned on, you're ready to go for your trip. And again, make sure you fill up on gasoline before you return it. As you move forward, there's this cabinet here. This cabinet you shouldn't need. It can all be remotely controlled inside, and this is where our generator is. The generator uses the onboard gas tank, so you don't need to fill up with gas anything separate. But here it is in case you need anything here. If for some reason the remote controls for the generator don't work, on the inside you need to turn it on or off here. So if you flip these 2 black knobs to the open spot, this door pops off here, and this will manually start your generator. I'm always going to check your oil before you go, but here's your oil check in case we need that for any reason. And then to start the generator on the outside, you're going to hold down to the left to stop prime. Hold that down until that red light comes on. Once that red light comes on, it'll start right up, and if it's started and you need to turn it off, you can do it here. Again, you should only need to use this if the controls inside are not working. The controls inside will remotely control the generator, and likely you'll never have to go in this cabinet. Now just inside the driver door we have a few safety items. This bag right here has got light up magnetic cones kind of in case you have any sort of emergency while you're on the road. In terms of driving this vehicle, it's very basic. You've got automatic door locks and windows for both sides. Very basic automatic transmission. You can always downshift if you need to on large hills, but it's not a very heavy vehicle, so you shouldn't need to do that. And then your obvious blinkers and tilt steering wheel. You will need to manually adjust the mirrors, which will help you do before you leave here. And if you're in a campsite that's narrow or anything like that, these do pop in if needed. Other than that, the front of the vehicle is a normal truck front. Underneath the hood, you've got your normal fluid checks and everything like that, like you do in any other vehicle. That shouldn't be anything you need to tend to unless you're going on a long trip, in which case we'll talk about that before you leave.